Russian journalist's killing, 2 sentenced to life in prison. A Moscow court on Monday sentenced 5 men to prison for the 2006 killing of Russian journalist and fierce Kremlin critic Anna Politkovskaya, including 2 to a life term. A jury found that Rustam Makhmudov shot Politkovskaya at her Moscow apartment building in October 2006, the state-owned legal news agency RAPSI said. He and Lom-Ali Gaitukayev, whom the jury found was a mastermind of the killing, were sentenced to life in prison, according to the court. Authorities alleged that an unidentified man asked Gaitukayev to kill Politkovskaya in exchange for $150,000 because of her reports of human rights violations and other issues. The Moscow City Court said a second convicted plotter, former police officer Sergei Kochekurbanov, was sentenced to 20 years in prison. 2 of the gunman's brothers, Rustam Makhmudov and Ibrahim Makhmudov, were convicted as accomplices. Rustam drove Rustam to the apartment building, and Ibrahim was a lookout, telling Rustam that the journalist was approaching her home, RAPSI reported. Rustam Makhmudov received a 14-year sentence, and Ibrahim Makhmudov was sentenced to 12 years in prison, the court said. The court also ruled in favor of Politkovskaya's children in a lawsuit against the defendants. The court ruled that each defendant must pay the children 1 million rubles, about $28,800. A 6th defendant, retired police lieutenant colonel Dmitry Pavlyuchenkov, pleaded guilty in a separate trial in December 2012, accused of being one of the plotters. He was sentenced to 11 years in prison and testified against the other defendants. A staunch critic of the Kremlin, Politkovskaya was found shot dead in her apartment building while she was working on a series of reports about the restive Russian Republic of Chechnya for Novaya Gazeta, an independent Moscow-based newspaper. A man in a baseball cap shot Politkovskaya in an elevator of her apartment block as she was returning home. Politkovskaya chronicled human rights abuses in Chechnya, and those stories led to threats against her, the New York-based Committee to Protect Journalists said. Politkovskaya covered the Second Chechen War for 7 years, and her work angered Russian authorities, the Journalists Committee said.